Hello and welcome to, once again, another Emergency Info Black Archive episode. We're in a bit of a rush, so that terrible intro, sadly, will be sticking. But join me, as always, is the amazing James Stevenson.
Hello, Owen. Good afternoon, and welcome to the worst day they could have announced, the 14th Doctor. We're both very, very busy today, but we stop everything because of one of the biggest pieces of news that you can ever have following this show. We have a new man behind the TARDIS console. And who is it, Owen? Who is this fine man?
Ncuti Gatwa. He will be joining for TARDIS as the 14th Doctor?
14th Doctor.
14th Doctor.
If you're talking about the Doctors that have numbers, obviously, if you have to eliminate John Hurt from that because officially not a number, and Joe Martin, and the countless thousands that the Timeless Children supposedly invented. But yeah, 14th.
For numbered Doctors. Let's just say...
Yes, the numbered... I was saying this to someone earlier. It's like, well, this is the numbered Doctors. The others are either suspect or canonically could be retconned at any moment.
And you're also forgetting the Morpheus Doctors there, so, we can move past that.
You know how much of a rabbit hole that actually is?
Yeah, that's why we're not going too deep into it. So, what do you think of this casting choice?
So, do you want to pronounce the name one more time, just so I make sure I get this dead right? And I do not want to mess
Gatwa.
Ncuti Gatwa.
Yes.
Ncuti Gatwa, okay. What I like about the casting of Ncuti Gatwa is that it feels simultaneously completely out of left field, and yet it's exactly what Russell T Davies would do.
Yeah.
It's right down that line.
So, because this announcement happened on the day of the BAFTAs, we've already got some interviews for both Ncuti Gatwa and Russell D Davies. So, shall we listen to the interview which they did on the BBC to find out why he chose Ncuti Gatwa?
Play it.
So, what was it about Ncuti that made you think he is the person for the part?
Yeah, he is talent. Talent, don't listen. Talent. It was the most blazing audition. It was our last audition. It was our very last one. We thought we had someone, and then in he came and stole it. And genuinely, I've watched Sex Education, loved his work, didn't quite know what we were going to get until I was in the room. And meeting you since, Ncuti, it's just going to be a joy. I'm properly thrilled. It's going to be a blazing future.
So there he goes. That's why he chose Ncuti. It doesn't really say much. It just says which is the last one, that he's a magnificent actor.
It's the usual hype, and that makes perfect sense because they have to sell this. In reality, this is probably the most important Doctor casting since Christopher Eccleston in terms of what it means for the show going forward.
Yeah.
Jodie's, of course, was very important for the symbolism of having a female Doctor. This feels very important for the show's future more than anything else.
It's also very simplistic because it means we've now got a person of colour being the Doctor.
We did have Joe Martin, obviously, in the last couple of series, but that's not, again, like we were saying before, that's not necessarily a numbered Doctor. So this is the first. This is the man, woman Doctor.
Yeah. So quite good then, we think.
Based on what I've seen him in, and I have to say, I'm a bit basic on this. I have only watched him in Sex Education, which is a good series. And he plays a very much fan favourite character in that show, Eric. He is very much a dynamic actor. And the question I have is, if he does the Eric thing as the Doctor, it would work, but I think it's too obvious. So I sense he will do something different. And it will be very unexpected. And so I'm quite excited because I don't really know what this Doctor is going to be like.
Shall we see what he says his Doctor's going to be like?
There's always an answer for any question I have when Owen's controlling them. Go on then.
Have you always been a big Doctor Who fan? Anyone that you particularly want to model yourself on, or of course do your own thing as well?
I'm definitely going to do my own thing. Definitely. They're all amazing. You can't pick. You cannot pick. A fan of Doctor. I don't know who isn't a fan of Doctor Who. I really don't know. So yeah, very excited to join the family.
And
So it doesn't really give much away, but I do think he might play it a little bit left field, might go a little bit atypical from what we've seen before.
I think so, and that's where the excitement comes from. Because we've had Eccleston, Tennant, Smith, even Capaldi were variations on the same.
They were all
there were differences, but they were variations.
They were very much Troughton-esque, weren't they, in how they acted, particularly when problem solving, particularly, say, Matt Smith and David Tennant.
Yeah, Matt Smith is a very Troughton Doctor. Tennant's obviously got a bit more. I would say Tennant was a bit more dynamic. Eccleston obviously had the darker side. Capaldi was a lot more William Hartnell in his approach. Jodie, it's hard to compare Jodie, obviously, because of the gender. But if you're looking at that Doctor, I get Peter Davidson vibes out of that Doctor. So this could really be anything. It's hard to know, and especially since he's holding his cards so close to his chest about it. He said a lot there without saying much at all, really.
That's pretty much most of what these answers are from the interviews. They even said, like, you're not saying much here. He went, yeah, no, I'm holding off my cards close to my chest and that sort of thing there. But, yeah, it's very exciting stuff.
And that's fair enough, because if the stories are to be believed about when the Russell series will start, which could even be with the 60th,
he referred to in his interview, I think I don't have it clipped, but he said 2033. So at some
2033.
point,
so 11 years away.
It's been cancelled again.
Russell's rebooting it again. This was the whole reason he was back. We've already cancelled it and announced he will reboot it later.
Yes, but it's going to come back sort of like around 2023, so some point next year.
Yeah, so that could be a full 12 months away or even longer to build up, which is reminiscent of how it was with Matt Smith, because they announced Matt Smith right at the start of 2009.
Yeah.
And then his first episode didn't air for 15 months. So we had 15 months to guess what that Doctor was going to be like.
The issue is, I think the suspecting thing is that they've already started filming, or that they are due to any week now.
Yeah. I can confirm based on sources that that's happening.
Yeah, it's definitely... So they can't, essentially, until they announce this, they can't do any outside filming without it getting immediately leaked.
Yeah. That I personally think... Do you reckon that perhaps, because it was similar to a few other, for example, the Eccleston one where there was a press leak, that they kind of had to roll public with it before they wanted to? Do you imagine that a paper has hold of it and is sort of forced hand?
Because of the, quite frankly, bizarre timing of it all.
You expect it to be a big moment.
Because my theory is that they were going to do it because Ncuti is presenting a BAFTA tonight. My theory is that he was supposed to be announcing it when he's doing that.
Yeah, live on air.
But somehow, for whatever reason, they've been pushed into doing it sooner, whether it's to get ahead of a leak or whatever, we don't know. It
was just remarkable how low key it was. It was just a tweet at 12:30 UK time.
It was me sending
with an image and a press release.
It was me going, just a heads up, some Doctor Who news might be coming. Yeah,
I got a message. So to give you the ridiculous over-informational context, I'm in the queue for the Breakfast Club in London. I know it's late to get a Breakfast Club meal, but I'd woken up late. So I'm waiting in the queue, and Owen's messaged me, and I've seen the person I was in the queue with had shown me the heart box thing before.
Yeah.
So I was aware something was going on, but there was a rumour going around. I know Scott Bryan was talking about it. Oh, maybe they're going to announce it before Eurovision next weekend, which would have made a lot of sense because that's also the FA Cup finals that day. So there's going to be a lot of eyes on BBC One. But then all of a sudden, Owen just sends me a screen grab. Oh, by the way, that's the official confirmation. I was like, what?
It's like an hour of us speculating to each other, and then me just going, oh, by the way, here's now the new Doctor.
But yeah, the conversation literally went, here's what's happened. I also saw that Ncuti Gatwa put this thing up. And I was like, oh, okay, he might be the companion, or just like he might just have a role in it, because it would be ridiculous if he also posted it and he was just the Doctor. And he was. But shall we actually talk about the casting then, and what we think about it?
I think the issue with me is that in preparation for this episode, recording this, I've watched 2 sex education episodes.
And what did you think of what you saw?
I think, as we were saying before, he's going to be a different Doctor, I think. Because, yes, we've had sort of like the camp playing off sort of like Matt Smith kind of way, little bit of David Tennant here and there, little bit campy, but I've got a feeling we might be dialing that to like 80. We're going to go full on campy, I've got a suspicion of, but based on the character which I've seen him play, I'm not so sure how he's going to be able to play the darker side for Doctor, because even the jolly, slightly loose-going Jodie Whittaker has got the moments where she has to play the dark, serious, straight-to-camera kind of speeches, whether it be when she's meeting for Daleks for the first time, or when she's in the Haunting of Philidide, whatever the hell it is, the name which I can never pronounce.
Yeah, the darn thing.
Where she does go dark. I'm not sure how he's going to be able to play that off. But that's purely because I've only seen 2 episodes of Sex Education, and that's the only thing I've had from him.
Yeah, it's very little to go off, really. I mean, that character is great fun. That's the important thing. And there's a lot of Sex Education fans out there. This is a big, big show. He is a very well-liked character on a big Netflix show. So, the decision is obviously, it's laying down a yardstick to say, this is the audience we are aiming at now. This is what we're going for. We're going for cool, we're going for young, we're going for progressive.
It's also going to, hopefully, I imagine this is part of the reason why they chose him, is it will be now a case of all of his fans from Sex Education will go, oh, Doctor, he's now the new Doctor. Let's go see how he does in this.
And they should migrate across. And that's a very big fan base. It's one of Netflix's biggest programs, definitely over in the UK as well.
They're definitely one of their biggest UK-based programs anyway.
Yeah, it's a huge production here. So that should bring a lot of fans across. And I think it does create genuine excitement, because I think he's in the right place where you've heard of him. Yeah. Like, he's not a complete unknown. Like, he's done work that you can recognise, but he's not well known enough that you're projecting onto him. It's
very much sort of like a David Tennant kind of thing of, he's in the industry, people know him, but they didn't really know him until he got cast as the Doctor.
Effectively, I'd say it's a little more left field than Tennant was, because Tennant had done lead roles on telly before.
Yeah.
This was just a whole new level. I think he's jumped into this whole new level a bit earlier than Tennant did, but he is on a very big show.
Yeah.
He's had top experience. He's very well liked on the programme. And I think he's one of the best things about it. Like, he's a genuine highlight of the show when I watch it. So the question will then be, like you say, what is he going to do as a Doctor? In terms of bringing out the fun, I think that's obvious that he could do that. Like, he's got the acting capabilities to do that. In terms of playing the darker side, I think he's going to be able to play it. I just think he'll play it in an unexpected way.
Yeah.
And in a way we might not have seen before, which is exciting. I think it could be a different Doctor, a different approach, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it does get excitement back into the show, this casting.
Yeah. Cool. So anything else you really want to say?
There is one last thing I do want to talk about, which is what does this say about what the entire show is going to be like post Chibnall when that ends and Davies Mark 2. I think one of the worries I had when we recorded the emergency box when Russell got announced again was that we were just going to go back to what Doctor Who was, and it was an amazing show at the time, but we shouldn't retread old ground. It happened, but we should try something different. This casting tells me we're going different.
Yeah.
And there will be a completely different tone to what Davies is trying. My theory is that realistically, the 2005 Who was Russell T Davies making the show that he thought Doctor Who fans wanted.
Yeah.
And what actually, not even that, sorry, let me rephrase that. he was making a Doctor Who that was palatable to a mainstream audience who thought Doctor Who was too nerdy.
Yeah.
This one, I think he's not going to have those shackles on anymore.
Mm-hmm. Shall we hear from him why he came back?
God, yes. Any Russell T Davies.
Planning your new Doctor Who empire, and what made you come back again to it after all the things, you said it's in the past, it's like going back to an old job or an old partner?
Well, it's a show that constantly renews itself. Look at Ncuti, look, here we are. And it's always, in my job, it's always the chance to work with new talent, like the It's a Sin cast. That's what drives me every day. And Doctor Who always has something new to say, and we're not giving away anything yet. I mean, Jodie's still the Doctor. We love Jodie. She spoke to her yesterday. She's so happy about this, but we're going to keep quiet, and it's all going to happen in 2023.
All going to happen in 2023.
Yeah.
They couldn't be playing the cards closer.
No, they could not.
But do you know what? I don't care. Do you know what it tells me? Is that they have a plan.
Yeah.
There is a plan. They have got the man to deliver it. And now we will wait to see how they fill that plan out. But I, for one, think it's a good casting. It's exciting. And it leaves you with more questions than answers, but in a good way.
Yeah.
It leaves you guessing. What about you? And any final thoughts?
I think it's a lot of pressure on him because he does need to, on both of them, let's be honest, it's both on Ncuti and Russell T Davies.
Well, I really think Russell's under more pressure because the name.
Yeah. But I think it could be good. It's also a thing of, I don't know enough about him, so I can't really give a good enough opinion on him either way.
Well, let's hope he does well, and let's face it, we're already more excited about this than Jodie's final episode. Well, Chibnall's final episode. Let me rephrase
I'm excited about Chibnall's final episode.
I like the ACT stuff, but you know that episode's going to be a disappointment. It's Chris Chibnall.
We'll see.
You could put anything in that. You could have David Tennant coming back on the horse from Girl in the Fireplace through a mirror, and it wouldn't do anything because Chibnall would write it.
Right, before James goes off in an endless rant, this is time limited, so let's bring this very much to an end.
Yes, it is.
If you want to hear our thoughts in 2023, when these episodes start airing, you can subscribe to our podcast. And until that point, we'll be bringing you some juicy, good old classic Who, and also discussing for Centenary Special when that comes out later this year.
And if you want to hear what our thoughts are on the most recent Doctor Who, Legend of the Sea Devils, that podcast is out. And we also have loads of live, just after podcasts from Flux, which are good fun. And is mainly me ranting without the same time limitations. So have a look at that as well.
So if you want to tell us what you think of our thoughts, if we are wrong or any of that stuff, then feel free to tweet us at Black Archive Pod or email us blackarchivepod@gmail.com.